all together. Let's play everything together. We have the super powerful beats. Now let's talk about the effects for a little bit. Now, what's up everybody, I'm Busiless and welcome to my channel, which is all about music production, sound design, Ableton Life and all things related. And in today's video, we're going to be doing track breakdown or production walkthrough to one of my latest beats called Stepping on a Lego. Now, let's jump into Ableton and I'll show you everything. So, how did this all start? It started with this Hyperion kit, so the drum kit from Ableton Live's pack called Skitter and Step. And I found this really cool and I decided to work with something more than just a standard drum, bass, and then snare and hi-hats. And I tried to discover a little bit more of the samples and I found these two. And that kind of struck me. That's really cool. Let's work on that. Let's add something more. So I built a little drum beat around it and that's how it sounds. Let's listen to it now. So this is just basically a simple drum beat with a little bit of these stabs that make all this character. Now just to see what's different here, I kind of had to separate just the kit from the drums. These are just like a snare and the hi-hats. This is just the kick, which is separated just so I can process it a little bit better. We have some envelope followers that will then duck our bass. We'll see that in a moment. And also I had this rhythmical section that goes like that, using a little bit more of the samples from the Hyperion kit. So now basically these are the drums. Of course, I also put these growl stabs which are here. Let's just listen to only them. They are intentionally put into the bass section because they are a little bit lower in the frequency, so that's why how I'm processing stuff. I'm processing all the bass sounds kind of together, and then you can see that envelope follower working really hard here. Now also these other stabs, which I call dub stabs, are here. Let's listen to only them. Yeah, they're very delicate and very quiet here, but they work really well. They also are put into the melodic section because, as I mentioned before, I'm processing these frequencies slightly different. So these are melodics, all the arps, all the leads, everything, they are here together. Other than that, I have another group of effects. So these are my main 4 groups, and then we work on each of them in just a minute. Now, moving on to the bass section. So this is all the bass. We have this process together. As you can see, we have 4 instruments in the bass group, but the main one that is carrying the most of the song, most of the beat is this one. Let's listen to just this bass here. So this is very, very simple bass from Analog Lab 5, slightly processed here, nothing really fancy. But then, of course, we are adding these growl stabs here into the bass. And then if we hear it in a moment, this drone bass, really heavy, really deep, like a horn. Let's listen to it now. That's really strong, and that's how the main concept started. I'm gonna play it all together. So just the drums and bass and these dub stabs here. Let's play this breakdown and build up a little bit. This moment here. Okay, this is something different now. Now, of course, we have some more bass instruments, as you can probably see here. So we worked on these. And here I'm layering 2 different basses. As you can see, the notes are basically the same. Normally, I wouldn't advise to mix 2 different basses or to layer 2 different basses because it can cause a little bit of the trouble in the mixing stage. But in this case, these are 2 different basses. Let's listen to only this one for now. You'll get the idea why. So this is quite a low bass. This is from Pigments, and just as funny, slightly processed with a filter, a little envelope here. And this is the drone bass, which you can tell it's in a different register. So that's much higher frequencies. So they work together really well as one bass. Then we add these stops here to make it a little bit stronger. So that's the main drop of the bass. So together with drums, main drop goes like that. All powerful, all strong, really nice. I'm using a little bit of the slow bass here at the very beginning intro, just listen to that bit. But then the melody takes over the rest. So now let's listen to the melodics only. I'll play only the melodics without any other instruments, and I specifically disabled lead so you can know what was actually missing from the beat. So let's play this little bit here. Very simple, very delicate, rhythmical as well. We have some arps, we have some pong arps, we have some piano stops, and we have some bells. That's basically it. There are also some accents here, which are very sparse. And these dub stops as well that we talked about already. This is all in the melodic section. And no, basically, is there anything interesting happening in A section? A bit more stripped down, slightly different chord progression. Let's listen to the melodics once again. Yeah, very delicate. Let's add the bass. And let's add the drums, actually. Yeah, everything goes well. There's something missing. We're missing that final element. Okay, so actually, let's talk about that element at the moment. We're going to leave effects at the end. So the leads. As I mentioned, I started working on this Chords Friend 79 song, and I've created one in Wavetable, which we can see here. It's not much process, just saturator and hybrid reverb. And basically that's it. So let's play this bit for a moment. So we can see it's quite prominent, quite high in frequency. Of course, it's not super loud here because I have some other lead instruments that are helping this one. And these two play the same notes, only they are with slightly different instruments. So this is Chiral, this is Max for Live device, which is, I think it's still free. You can download it from Ableton. And this sounds like that. It's very delicate, very nice. I love this instrument. We have some processing done here. We have the emergence, which is granular. We have tape and lo-fi, which adds a little bit vibey, flowy look, flowy feel. Like kind of lo-fi stuff. Valhalla Supermassive, obviously, really cool delay plugin. And also in the Imager just to see our polar sample if we are in the right direction, because we don't want the sound to disappear in mono. And also there's another lead sound, also a bit heavier. It's also kind of similar to the Chords 70, Chords from Friend 79, only in pigments. So quite similar sound, and they all together play like that. So we are actually pushing one of the sounds to the right, one of the sounds to the left, and this main one in the center. This creates this rich texture. The sounds are like chasing each other, slightly shifting, and all together, let's play everything together. We have the super powerful beat. Now let's talk about the effects for a little bit. So we have some effects which you can hear, just some of them played together. These are basically some patches from Pigment, slightly changed, slightly shifted, re-sampled. And then we have some sparks. These are really cool, I like them. They go from left to right. We have this little thing that's coming here. Really cool patch from Pigments as well, slightly modified. And we have this these twinkles here. And in the rhythmical build-up, we also have this instrument, which is also from Pigments. As you can probably tell, I really love Pigments. Yeah, I can't do anything without Pigments. So I put some risers together as well. If we listen to this one here in a second. Yeah, they work together, and also this bit here. Oh, we talked about already. So now this one here, there's the last element of the song. Also very cool. I truly don't remember where did I got it from. It's probably also Pigments, but I can't be 100% sure. It's been a while since I got it, and some elements you just keep them and you just let them live and you forget where they come from. So yeah, that's the whole breakdown of the whole song in terms of the elements. I did some automations, of course. Let's talk a little bit about how I mixed it all together. So I made these 4 basic groups. So the drums, they're processed together with drum bass, my favorite effect, and then also slightly EQ'd. So we're cutting the lowest of the lows just not to make our limiter work really hard. And there's also some dust added, so a little bit of the basically redux. That's it. I spread them separate, so it's easier to process these instruments, easier to mix kicks and then the rest of the drums. And also bass. Bass is also very simple. We have this dynamic sidechain, if you'll see that. So this is the frequency. Oh yeah, that's what it does. So it's ducking this frequency in the moment when the kick drum plays. We have this envelope follower here. So this is triggering this little note on the equalizer. Now also, that's basically it. There's also a little bit of EQ added here, and I didn't do much of the processing afterwards. It sounds really good as it is. Now melodics, melodics also very simple, just EQ basically. Now some of the instruments like leads are a bit more processed, so we have a little bit of the sausage fattener and also Smoother Reader Pro just to get rid of some of the harsh frequencies that are haunting these synths here. So let's see what it does. It's kind of ducking these frequencies here just to make it more smooth. We can switch it off. It is a bit harsh in the higher frequencies. Now a bit more smooth. That's what this plugin is all for. And then what else? Yeah, and there we also have some effects. They're also processed like that. And I also added these 2 twinkles. In terms of the mastering, quite simple stuff. I'm gluing everything with a compressor. So this compression doesn't work too hard. Let's play all the instruments. It will just basically work to kind of glue this stuff together. Yeah, it just lifts a tiny bit. There's a very tiny bit of a makeup. The difference is very subtle. Also the reverb, very tiny difference, but makes that little glue that holds everything together. Also imager, just to see how good we are in terms of the polar sample or phase. And then EQA, that was just for seeing the frequencies. And then the main mastering is done by Ozone 11. So let's see what's happening here. So we have equalizer. Here's an equalizer that doesn't do much. Probably I had a little bit too much of the mids and too little of the fresh air. That's why it's adding a little bit of that fresh air here. And then imager, just controlling the wideness of some of the parts. We have this imager here, we can have a look as well. Stabilizer doesn't do much. We can see these are the sounds that he's working on. And then turn it off. You can see the difference that it does. 25%. Then dynamic EQ, ducking some of the frequencies that were meant to be a little problematic for the ear. This one now, I really don't like it. So it does a good job. Also maximizer, what it does is adding quite a lot of gain, trimming the output a bit. It's going a little bit too high in terms of the peaks and in terms of the LEFS, but overall that's what I aimed for basically. Of course, I highly encourage you to listen to the track on any streaming platform of your choice. Also, you can go to BandCamp and even buy this track. Just follow the link in the description box down below. And if you're a beginner music producer and you're working in Ableton Live, you might have the Ableton Live intro version that doesn't allow you for that flexibility, having so many tracks. But worry not, there's a little trick. I've discovered actually quite a few tricks. You can squeeze many more instruments and many more tracks within these 8 tracks. Just if you want to know how to do this, watch this video next. Now that's it from me for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Cheers.